Hi everybody, welcome back to Sumi Learns. If you're new here, my name is Sumi, and today's video is a little bit random, but it's something that has been on my mind quite a bit lately, so I decided I will make a video about it. So if you've known me for the past like 3 years, you might know that one of my favorite things in this entire world is gymnastics. I love watching gymnastics, I love learning about gymnastics, I love gymnasts, and as of like 2 weeks ago, I love doing gymnastics. So I joined the gymnastics club in my school and I started learning gymnastics. So I am documenting that whole process, so I'll go more into that in a different video probably. But in today's video, I just wanted to talk about what has been on my mind, which is that honestly, my love for gymnastics has truly made me or makes me a better scientist, a better PhD student, and in particular, my love for Simone Biles. So there's no other athlete I love even remotely close to how much I love Simone Biles. I just finished her memoir recently. I loved reading it. I love learning even more about her. I watch every video that she does. I watch all her Instagram stories. So today I just wanted to share some of the ways that I think my obsession is actually healthy and is actually helpful to me as a scientist. And I'll be honest, some of these might be a little bit obvious, but it's really nice for me to like put pen to paper. So starting off strong with number one is Simone pushes herself to be the best. That's something that is like very Simone. Like, I mean, she is the best. There's no argument there. She's the best gymnast in the world. She's the greatest of all time. But even then, like, she constantly pushes herself. Like, every time I see videos of her training, I'm like, recently actually a video came out where she's training some of the hardest skills that in women's gymnastics, or even if we think about Biles too, the most recent like vault that she did that got named after her. No other female gymnast does that. Only male gymnasts do that. But Simone pushes herself to be the best. And I remember there was even an interview that someone did with some of her coaches, Cecile and Laurent, and they were like, literally, she's the hardest worker that there is. And sometimes I think about that and I'm like, I want that to be like, as a scientist, as a PhD student, I want to do things well. So seeing Simone push herself just honestly inspires me. But at the same time, something that I love about her is that she also knows her limits. I feel like the clearest demonstration of this was in Tokyo Olympics, which I loved Simone before then, but literally I became even more obsessed with her after that. So of course you probably know, but in Tokyo Olympics, she had the twisties and she did attempt a vault in the Olympics, but she didn't know where she was in the air, so she landed kind of like off. It wasn't a good landing, so she decided that she was going to take a step back and just support her team. And I love that she knew that, because sadly, even till today, many people in her comment section, they're still like, oh, she's a quitter, like why would we celebrate a quitter? But it makes me so sad to see, because people just don't appreciate that it was good that she knew her limits. Actually, there's something that she says in her memoir where she said the line between being courageous and an injury is very slim, especially in gymnastics. So I'm so glad that she knew her limits, and it's something that I also carry into work with me. Like, as much as I want to do my best, especially in academia, where I feel like, sadly, I think in academia as a PhD student, we're often overworked. We're told to like push past our limits, but it's good to be able to stand your ground and say, no, this is my limit. Like, I have done a good number of hours for the day and I'm tired and I'm over it, and yeah, and I'm going home. So anyways, Simone inspires me in that way. Something else that I love about Simone is Simone has fun. Even as she does gymnastics, she makes sure that it's fun. And I just really love that. Like, every time I see some of her stories, I see that, you know, she's going out with friends, she's doing fun things, she just had like a Valentine's Day. Like, I love that it's not just do or die with gymnastics, which there are some gymnasts too. Like, gymnastics is the only thing, is like that's what they live, they breathe. And that's sadly also the way it is many times for PhD students. It's like your PhD is the only thing that you focus on. And I think that's so sad. I think as scientists, as PhD students, we should be more well-rounded. Like, we should have passions outside of science. We should have things that we truly enjoy. And I love that Simone is a good example of that. She is the best at what she does, but at the same time, she has time for family, for friends, for things outside of gymnastics. So this one doesn't just apply to Simone alone, even though of course it applies to her, but it also applies just to gymnastics as a whole. I always say that I think gymnasts are the real life superheroes. Like, I don't think people appreciate how hard it is to be a gymnast. Gymnasts need to they just need to have so much like body strength, shoulder flexibility, like literally every type of flexibility a gymnast needs to be able to have. They need to be able to have strength in so many different areas, like shoulder strength, arm strength, core, legs, like everything needs to be strong. But honestly, one of the things that blows my mind the most is the amount of mental toughness that it takes to be a gymnast. Gymnasts need to be incredibly brave. Like the bravery it takes to twist yourself in the air, to throw yourself in the air, it's just crazy. So just as an example, of course, I've never done gymnastics ever in my life, but then 2 weeks ago, like I said, I started doing gymnastics. And like one of the first things that I'm literally learning the basics, the things that little kids would learn. So I'm learning how to do a cartwheel and a handstand. And I went to do my handstand. I was like, okay, let me just attempt. Like I was trying to do it like against a wall, and I bent to the ground and I was like, okay, I just have to kick myself up to the wall. That was so scary. Like, because it was like my brain just kept thinking, oh no, you might fall, oh no, you might hurt yourself, oh no. There's just so much fear. Like, and I mean, our brains are trying to help us. Like, it's my brain is trying to keep me safe, but it takes so much bravery to just be able to throw yourself in the air and do all of these crazy things. So honestly, whenever I have something like hard to do or something scary to do, I often think about gymnasts. Like, for example, I was giving a presentation to my whole like program. Is that what it's called? Yeah, anyways, to everybody in my like PhD program. And before that presentation, I remember thinking, I was just like, if gymnasts can throw themselves in the air and flip and do all of these crazy stunts, I can give a presentation. And it actually really helped. It really helped to think like, be brave, like you can be brave. Another thing that I truly love about Simone, and just in general the culture of gymnastics, is that she celebrates other people's wins. Of course, gymnastics is a competition. You're competing against other people, especially the higher that you go, which like Simone has gone to like the absolute top. She's competing in the Olympics. The stakes are higher. You're competing for your country, you're competing for like a gold medal and all these different things. But no matter what, every time I've seen Simone, she exhibits such good sportsmanship. She celebrates other people's wins, and it's just so beautiful. For example, in the World Championships that happened in 2023 in Belgium, in vault, Rebecca Andrade beat Simone because Simone fell when she did her vault. And it was just so beautiful to see her celebrate Rebecca. I remember she did an interview after, and people were like, oh man, like there's this, is there bad, it wasn't the way they phrased it, but the question was like, the heart of it was like, is there bad blood between you and Rebecca? And she was just like, no, like Rebecca is an excellent athlete, that she pushes me to be the best I can be, that like we're always on the podium together. That says something. And I was like, it's so beautiful. Or even when she had to like be taken out of Tokyo Olympics, I remember that she stood there cheering on her teammates so incredibly hard. She couldn't compete, but she was like right there on cheering them on. And I'm like, it's just so beautiful, because especially in academia, which I keep referencing because this is about like how it helped me be a better scientist, but especially in academia, I feel like sometimes there's this sad like competition that we have, like, oh, this person published this number of papers, like, or I've even heard of, you know, some labs like sabotaging each other, like sabotaging each other's like experiments. And I think it's so sad. Like, there's enough space at the top for all of us. Like, if one person wins, we all win. And I think that's something that Simone really brings. And ultimately, which is something that she has said before, is she's not competing against anyone else, she's competing against herself. And I think that is just the absolute best mindset to have, and it's something that I know I want to bring to my PhD. Ultimately, I'm not competing against anyone else in my cohort. I'm not trying to be better, or whatever better scientist means, than anyone else in my cohort or any other scientist. I'm trying to be better than the me that I was yesterday. So anyways, so beautiful. Love Simone, if you couldn't tell. Something else that gymnastics as a whole, as well as Simone of course, but gymnastics as a whole has taught me is patience. Patience, because progress takes time. And I'm honestly starting to learn this even more as I am doing gymnastics. Gymnastics takes so long, which is why like people start their kids so early in gymnastics. For example, Simone actually started gymnastics when she was 6 years old, and that was considered starting like late, or like that she was already pretty old for gymnastics, because like it takes so long to learn to be flexible, to learn like all of these skills. Even the different skills that gymnasts do, they don't just like jump into the skill. There are progressions that you have to do over time. For example, if you're learning to do a backflip, you need to do, you know, you might do the backflip into a pit initially, like into a foam pit initially, and then you might do it with a spotter, and then there's just so many different progressions that you do. You might just like land straight on your back at first instead of doing the full complete flip. So it takes so much time, even with me learning like honestly very simple skills that like I thought, oh man, this should be easy, like a cartwheel and a handstand, I should be able to do this like immediately. But no, even then it's taking me some time, and I'm learning just to be okay with that. Progress takes time. I'm learning to enjoy the process and not just the end result. And that is fully how science is. Like in science, everything takes time. In an experiment, like even for you to like breed the mice that you will need to do your experiment, it takes mice 3 weeks. That alone takes time. But even for you to like fully test your hypothesis, you need so much time. And that's something that I'm very much learning from watching gymnasts and from doing gymnastics myself, is everything takes time, and you just have to learn to love the process. Along those same lines, something else that I have learned from gymnastics and from Simone Biles is resilience, and just the fact that there will be bad days. Like even for the best gymnast, the best like gymnast of all time, there are times when Simone falls, she wobbles, like mistakes will in fact happen. And of course it breaks my heart every single time something like negative happens to Simone. My little Simone loving heart just like cracks. But I love the way she handles it. Like she doesn't let it get her down. She comes back again, she keeps trying, she keeps improving, and she just like, you know, one day doesn't define your whole career. And that's literally how it is with science. The number of failed experiments that there are in science is just crazy. For example, for every like published data that you see, there's probably at least 10 other experiments that didn't work that ended up leading to that experiment that did work. So truly, I feel, and this is something that people say is like one of the hardest parts of doing a PhD, is just the fact that experiments don't work, things fail all the time. But honestly, gymnastics is really helping with that, because like I see these amazing, incredible gymnasts, but even they have bad days. Even not just thinking about Simone right now, something that has been on my mind is there's this athlete, Paul Judah. He's like a gymnast for Michigan University, probably my favorite US male gymnast ever. And so he had like, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he had a relatively bad week, and then I remember seeing articles being like, oh, what went wrong with Paul Judah, blah blah blah. And honestly, I didn't even think he did that badly, but like though everybody just, you know, started talking about it. That's another thing with gymnastics, their failures are so public, sadly. But yeah, everybody started talking about it. And you know, and then this last week that just happened, he came, he delivered, he did so well, and like it's just been, yeah, he has had such a successful meet. So resilience is really important, and it's something that I'm learning. Even with mistakes, you can move forward and you can keep going. And finally, I will end with this, even though I could keep going literally forever because I'm obsessed with Simone. There's so much to say, but I'll end with this. One of my favorite things about Simone is that she cares a lot about the impact that she has on the next generation of gymnasts. She cares a lot about kids and people who look like her and being a good role model. And I just think this is so beautiful. For example, Simone just had her like gymnastics competition. It's called the Simone Biles Invitational, and a lot of like, it's for kids, and a lot of kids come, and just seeing her interact with these kids, it's very clear that she wants to like, she cares about being a good inspiration to these kids. She cares about being a good role model to these kids. And even for example, at the, I believe it was the World Championships, where it was her, Shilese Jones and Rebecca Andrade on the podium, and she spoke about it being an all-black podium and just how proud she was of how far the sport has come. Like before, that could not be the case. There were just not enough like black gymnasts, but now there are people who look like her who are able to do on the podium, and it's very clear that she really does care about, you know, making sure that the next generation of gymnasts are inspired, and they see that they are capable of succeeding. And yeah, I just think it's beautiful. I think it's inspirational, and I think it's something that I also really like care about taking into my life, because I also care about making sure that other people who are younger than me know that they too can be scientists. Like, because for example, for me, I didn't even know that being a scientist was like a real job. I thought it was just something that was on TV shows. I don't know, I just didn't know that it was a thing that could be done. But now I really hope that I could also be someone who like inspires other people to realize that they too can be scientists. So anyways, all that to say, this was just a cheesy rendition showing you how much I love Simone, in case you just didn't know. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. There will probably be more Simone in the future because love her. So anyways, see ya.